I'm sure she'd appreciate everyone's prayers if you're the praying kind, and if not, just warm thoughts would be nice. So thank you. First item on our agenda this evening is an update from Mrs. Psaros about the intermediate school. So welcome, come on down. I think that's on. I think the microphone's on. If not, you know the. I don't know.
Sergeant Smith.
Oh, did he leave it? I thought it was yours. Okay. Hi.
I'm going to try and do this without glasses that I suddenly feel like I need, so hopefully I can see. I could definitely see that now. We'll see what the font does when it gets a little smaller for me, but I have it on my phone too. I'd like to welcome everybody tonight to hearing a little bit more about our wonderful school. Our enrollment currently is 524. We have 4th, 5th, and 6th graders. We have 4 essential skills students with 1 more coming the day after fall break. So we're excited to meet our new little friend. We also have a few more students that are enrolling this week that we know of. So hopefully we'll see those numbers inch up a little more. Our overall free and reduced population is 24.9 currently, and that's based on the last data that we have from the 2024 data in the Indiana GPS. Our special ed population currently makes up 11.3% of our population, which is 59 students. Our overall teachers are 38 and support staff 32. Oh, clicker. Thank you. This way? Thank you. Okay. That's okay. I did not know what that was, but I was going to carry on. Our math data is one thing that we're focusing on, one of the 2 areas that we've been focusing on this year. And we had a goal, which is at the bottom of the page there, to increase our math proficiency from 70.1%, which was last year's beginning score, which is really, we're setting a goal then for 3 years to be able to increase 5% overall. And in our first year, we already have gone up 1.9%, so I think that's going in the right direction. And last year, our students who are at or above proficiency were at 72. We're still 30% above the state for last year, and we continue to look for ways to continue to improve. Our English language arts data has a similar trend. We also were doing the same thing, trying to increase 5% over the 3 years. And last year we were at 63.6%. We've gone up to 66%. And we are pleased with the 2.4 increase over a year. Our goal is to continue to increase to get to that final goal of at least 69, hopefully more than that. And again, through the comparisons of the state, we're certainly far above the state still, but setting our own bar of what we want to achieve to be better than where we were before. One of our students that we're spotlighting tonight is Logan Yang. He is a 4th grader in Mrs. Fernandez's class, and big news was shared by his parents. He is a little golfer, and who knew, right? You see these kids doing amazing things in the classroom, and then you see some even bigger things that they do sometimes out of the classroom that we don't know about. So we were pleased to hear that he went to the U.S. Kids Golf Regional Championship and in New Jersey in late August, and he won that. And so that was a big accomplishment, and he's actually been to many tournaments already and has been so successful. So I have a feeling we should get his autograph while we can, because this kid's going to be doing some great things in the future. I also want to spotlight our Mile Run Championship, which just happened last week. We had several students that had most improved scores from their own scores, so they're competing against their own score previously. Some of our students decreased their time, I should say. somewhere between 31.9 to 1 minute and 4 seconds to decrease their mile run. We also had 2 record breakers. One is a 5th grader, JJ Bonafito, who finished the mile in 6 minutes and 5 seconds, and Isaac Goodman, who finished in 5 minutes and 41 seconds. So certainly beat anything that I could do. Absolutely, he did. Absolutely, he did. And the awesome part about it was he is not looking at crushing our 6th grade record. He has his eye on the high school record. He's already working on it. So I have a feeling he's going to get there and have no problems at all. I also want to spotlight both our parent council, who do great things for our school, and our amazing staff who really work hard to find creative ways to get grants and do some wonderful things for students. And so this year we had 18 grant ideas submitted, and 16 of the 18 were either fully or partially funded by our parent council. They extended themselves a little beyond their budget of $3,000 and ended up getting $3,176.14 granted to our teachers. So we're really pleased with all of this. A lot of these grants are going to benefit a whole grade level or a whole building. So all our students are going to be impacted positively through one or more of these grants. Okay, so I feel like there's so much that I could speak about, but I couldn't do a great job of sharing every little detail that's in our building. So I thought I'd put together a picture video that does a better job, because I think pictures speak better than words. So can you start that for me? Thank you. So a little bit about what you just saw. Our general education and essential skills partnerships have been great. So our kids are learning from each other. We've had so many different science labs, and the Lafayette Bicentennial boards are at our school currently, and our students are learning through those. We had homecoming parade, coding, the mile championship, the large Indiana map also, as well as our various field trips and recess choices. So some of the things that were showcased were a little sampling of our school. Thank you.
Thank
Any
you very much.
questions?
Any questions?
Yeah, I just try to share some of appreciations. First of all, I saw that videos. It's really a nice one. For me, it's difficult. I don't have much chance to stop at visit the classroom, so that's really giving me the first hand. I mean, the looking of what happened in the schools. I appreciate that. Another thing is I saw the score, the text both math and English, they have consistently improved. We are much more higher than the average. So I appreciate that means we deliver very high quality educations for our kids. Another thing I want to share is a couple weeks ago, I happened to run into a girl just come from outside of the US, and then they come here. I just say, where did you go to school? Say, I went to West Lafayette Intermediate School. I say, oh, what's about there? They say, oh, they're very good. I said, because you English is not my mother language, so I know how to be in a kind of totally foreign environment. So I asked her what's going on. She said, oh, I have a special teacher. They teach me English, that kind of things. So we have a lot of support. And the last thing I asked her, do you like school? And she have a big smile and tell me, oh, I love school. I really like it. So at that moment, very satisfied. So I really appreciate you and all the faculties and also our central administrations. You guys really deliver very good, high quality education and support our kids.
Thank
No
you.
matter they have been here or just newcomers, they are really feel welcomed and supported. So they really enjoy their school. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's a great compliment because we want that for our kids and our families.
Yeah, I just please feel free to share this.
That's so great. I will, definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Super.
Any other questions?
That's it.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right. Oh, 2 applause. We know who the pick. All right, and the next item is we're going to welcome Mr. Caldwell with an update on our transportation. So Doug, come on down.
Thank you for having me second following that with colorful slides, video presentation. I do not have that for you. It is good to be back with you. And just to give you a little overview of transportation in comparative years from last year and everything, staffing's basically remained the same with 11 route drivers, 1 driver in the office, 1 driver trainer. And you see that when that driver's not driving, then she's in the office really helping move logistics, field trips, getting everything scheduled, making sure we get all of our buses on time. With 2 bus aides that ride our special needs buses, and we have 3 outside subs currently. We haven't added any staff from last year. However, I do have the opening. Looking for a driver, if anybody's interested. Equipment's the same, still 16 yellows, 4 white activities. 3 of those we keep at the high school. They use those as needed for small group instructions. Some of the lower level volleyball and stuff, those coaches will drive those buses and everything there. Our vehicle fleet hasn't increased. We'll order a new bus in November. Hopefully it'll be here by June, and we will trade one of our older buses in. We have 4 currently that are 12 years old or older, and those require an inspection every 6 months. We just went through that last Thursday, passed all 4, luckily. So as we start rotating our fleet, some of those buses that need to be every 6 months inspected, that'll trim down a little bit as we increase our new routes. Currently, 66 routes per day. That's counting our AM and PM. Approximately, it's tough to get a count. Ridership changes almost every day. About 370 per school. You look at total for the year, 11,780 routes driven. That is routes. That's 555 trips outside of our routes. That could be a field trip, athletic events, some different type of transportation we do. 160,414 miles plus 15,000. With Stephanie Qualio now running our special needs and everything, a lot of that is contributed to the programming we have to get those kids to. We have really, I'll give her, upped our game, I think, doing a lot of stuff for those kids. We have a bus Wednesday picks up our elementary kids. We take them to the pool. They get to swim for about an hour. We go get Willis Essential Skills kids, take them to the pool, switch them out, rotate them. We have groups that they'll take them to Walmart to go shopping, to learn the skills and stuff they need. And then we do have currently we have a student in each building in McKinney-Vento. Those students reside either in Lafayette School Corporation or Tippecanoe School Corporation. We're still responsible to get them back to our buildings. But the programming, I think, is where a lot of our uptick has come, especially in some of our students who need an alternative program or schedule. We pick some individuals up, take them to building A. They're there for a short time, pick them up from building A, take them to building B, and some of that's not even in our corporation. So a lot of those miles are accumulated through there. Who we provide service to, the Career Academy is really growing, and I love to see that, those kids getting into the skills programming. We service Linwood, Durgan, the alternative at Happy Hollow. We run the Wellness Center for the after school and some job programs for some of our essential skill kids. That's really it. Yes. Okay.
I'm relatively new here. Why do we serve Linwood and Durgan?
That is, they provide preschool programming.
Okay.
We currently, for that group of students, we have a preschool here in the building, but our special needs kids need special programming. And right now, that's the only building that they provide that in. And I believe once we decentralize glass even more, we'll still contract with LSC for our students, preschool kids, to be able to go to that building. Yes.
Have you been doing anything this year that's different than last year in terms of making sure that the buses are more on time? I've noticed, like last year, there's a little bit of variability around my kids' pickup times, sometimes up to 5 minutes each way. This year, I don't think it's varied more than 30 seconds. Like, I'm serious. Like,
One more time.
yeah. 8:27 every day on the dot. I can.
We try.
Yeah,
to be as
it's been
close to that
amazing.
schedule as possible. But there's a lot of factors we can't, if there's a traffic wreck. Windsor Drive, they're doing water main replacement. So every morning I go out, take the big barricade, move it back 10 feet, let the bus circle and pull back out through the bank to get through. So if you're on a route where there's no construction or anything, then we pretty much click on time. My drivers do a great job getting out there, getting in, and going on time. So we try to be in that 5 to 10 minute window.
I've just been really impressed with how consistent it's been this year. I mean, last year was fine. Like, it was never like wildly out of what I would expect. But this year it's just been so tight on the dot, and it's been great. I want to say orange, but it's the one up in U Farm, elementary.
Oh, okay.
And actually, the other two we're at all three schools this year. The other two are also right on the dot as well.
And that route's a new driver this year too, so she's doing well. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
I just like to express my appreciation on behalf of the community for what you do for the community. And besides the regular routes, you provide so many other ones and to meet a different, for kids to get a different educational experience. I think that's wonderful. And because my kids join some of the extra curriculum activities. Many times I notice that the drivers have to get up so early, like 5 o'clock in the morning, and to drive to a very far place and come back quite late. Yeah, it's just,
And I have to manage, I can't have a driver doing something on Friday night and have to turn around and have them up at 4 to get to the bus and be somewhere at 5:30 to take them. So the logistics and scheduling, there's a lot of intricate stuff that goes into that. Unfortunately puts me behind the wheel some, but I mean, to get the job done.
yeah, that's a lot of work. And I do have one question. And on your slides, you talk about bus aids. And so what do they do and what do they help with? Bus aids.
So our special needs buses that transport our kids who have disabilities or something,
Oh, okay.
we have to have an aid on that.
Okay.
So those aides are trained in securement of the children, securement of the wheelchair,
Okay.
first aid, and then every summer they have to take a recertification course on how to deal and manage these type of students that we're transporting. So we don't just have a driver, we have an aide. I have two, but when one of them are off, then I ride.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for the clarification. I kind of have a different. I didn't know that that's a function, but I heard before that there are bully incidents in, not necessarily on our buses, but yeah, it's kind of a general phenomena. Sometimes there's a bully in, problem on the buses. I wonder whether we have that kind of problem, and if so, how do we address that?
We look at each individual incident, working with the school administration, whatever building occurs with the driver, and try to work with the parents on that. A majority of the time, we have a conduct policy, and bus rules are out there. And then depending on if a student violates the bus rules, then there's conduct report. And then that conduct report comes to me, copy to the parents, and a copy to the school administrator. And then we work at dealing with that incident from that point. That all of our buses have video, some of it's, several generations behind, let's say. But all of our buses have video and audio on it, so that's a great tool too we use to figure out what exactly was going on with the bus. So we'll pull that, I'll share that with the administration, whatever building you're dealing with and everything.
Okay, so then when needed, we will, for example, recruit volunteers to ride on the bus to help with the situation, or what, I mean,
Well,
I hope we don't have that
said
situation, but I'm just
we can't
wondering.
fund to have an aid on every bus, there's just not the funds out there to do that. That would be great if we could. Some corporations, I'm assuming, have several different buses depending on routing and everything. I will say this, I retired in 2014 and worked in TSC transportation from 14 to, when did I get hired? 17, 18? Somewhere around there. And what I did at TSC was, I was the number 2 guy at TSC, but I dealt with all the buses. And I would say what we deal with in an entire semester here, incidents on the bus, was about a week's worth of work for me at TSC. So we have great kids. Now, I'm not saying they don't get out sometimes, but across the board, great kids in this community.
Great, thank you so much.
Good, all right, thanks.
All right. Well, my name is Lily Chiao. I'm a resident West Lafayette. My daughter Emily Gu attends Willis, 6th grade. I know Mrs. Patterson left. She's doing an amazing job. I'm here today to speak tonight in opposition to the third option, opening our district to students from outside district through a lottery system. While this idea is being discussed in response to declining enrollment and the resulting decrease in state funding, I believe this policy would create more problems than it solves. First of all, our district resources should remain focused on the families who live here, who invest in our community. Opening our schools broadly to outside students may temporarily increase enrollment, but it would also increase strain on our classrooms, teachers, and facilities. Second, we cannot ignore the impact on property values and community stability. Families choose to live here, often paying a premium precisely because of the strengths of our schools. If we weaken the connection between residency and enrollment by lottery, we risk undermining property values and discouraging families from moving here. That, in turn, could worsen the very enrollment decline we're trying to fix. Finally, while declining enrollment is a real challenge, there are better solutions than open enrollment. We should be focusing on attracting and retaining families who want to move to our community, strengthen our academic programs to draw new residents, and finding efficiencies that protect quality while managing cost. These approaches address the root cause rather than relying on a short-term fix that could harm the every character of our schools. In closing, I urge the board to reject this open school option. Opening our school to outside district is not the right path forward. Board members, please remember, You were elected by the residents of this community, not those from outside. You are responsible for maintaining our property values and strengthening the connection between residency and our schools. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next person we have is Yi Mei Tang. Tom, thank you. Come on up.
Good evening. Thank you, everyone. I also want to talk about the open district policy. First, I love this district. I hope that before we make any decision, we can keep the same care and attention for every kid and every teacher. So part of the care means that thinking about the fairness and the emotional well-being. So if we rely on the lottery system, some kids will be chosen and others will not. Imagine how that feels for young children, for young kids who didn't get in. And what about those families with more than one kid? Do we only allow one or we take them all? Either way, children get hurt. And that's not what we want. If we don't have a lottery system, then how do we guarantee fairness? And the second is safety. I don't know whether it's coincident we just talk about transportation. Welcoming more transport students means more cars on the road every morning and afternoon. And studies have shown that more long-distance commutes mean more traffic issues near school. Before we make any changes, we need to ask and be very practically, how many new students and new cars can we handle safely? I believe every child, whether they live here or transfer in, especially those who arrive by cars, they deserve to travel here safely and calmly each day. That must come first. And the last thing is, we have to make a decision that's sustainable. So once a transfer student is accepted, they're guaranteed to stay through the graduation. But what if some grades fill up in the future? Do we need to ask one child or 10 or 20 to leave? That would be heartbreaking. And I don't think any of us here want a child to experience that uncertainty. And there's another side to sustainability. In recent years, how many families who lived in our district have moved out to TSC and then transferred back? If we open the district widely to transfer and more people move out, our local tax base will shrink. And that decreased tax revenue will be leading to decreased pay for our teachers, the funds to maintain our buildings, and support for every student, including the transfer students. So we must ask, when enrollment goes up but in-district residency goes down, who's going to fund the teachers and programs that make our school so great? We cannot take the risk. So I really think we should listen to our community. We should make a decision that's forward-looking, sustainable, healthy for every student, including the transfer students and parents, teachers, and all the residents. Thank you.
There we go. Thank you very much. The next person on the list is Kimberly Lundgren. Welcome.
We are new to the district, and having sat on a public board of education in another state, as well as most currently coming from leading an independent school where access to education was our primary focus, I thought that, first of all, I understand the complexities of what you're grappling with as you're forming this transfer policy, but I thought that our experience moving in right now could perhaps serve as a little bit of a case study to be considered. I apologize, I'm going to read so I can stick to my 3 minutes, right? But after touring the school districts from Northern Indy to West Lafayette, we felt strongly that our children in this phase would best thrive in West Lafayette School District. Once deciding upon the school district, we began to search for a home. And quickly realizing that the housing stock was significantly more challenging than outside the district, our realtor told us about the possibility to purchase in Tippecanoe County School District and apply to West Lafayette schools. We continued to hear this story as we met people in the area that lived outside district but had their kids in West Lafayette schools, sometimes even for just certain years when they felt their school district was not as strong, perhaps in the middle school years and intermediate school years. Though certainly there is some ambiguity in the process and who is accepted, which in and of itself is a problem that the board must rectify and grapple with, we recognize that by all accounts in the public, it is a very viable option to be pursued. With the summer market stagnating, we decided to simply make life easy and sign a lease on a rental in the school district for the time being. Our kids have been quite happy at Westside, but I will admit that part of our reason on holding off to purchase our home currently is because we are waiting to see the outcome of this policy. Certainly, if the current policy stands, it means exploring moving out of the district is an option to navigate. The housing stock certainly fits the unique needs of our situation much better. Even if we decide to stay in district and remodel a home here, whether or not the transfer policy stays the same or not will determine the amount of money we are willing to spend on renovating a home. If the district decides to close its borders, we will be willing to spend more money, knowing that others in the future wanting to be in West Lafayette School Corporation the options will be limited for them as far as housing goes, thus making the work we do on our home of greater value in the long run. In my short time here, it appears to me that there is a direct correlation to decreased enrollment inside the school boundaries precisely because families know that they have the option to be outside them. If revenue and long-term financial viability is the most important issue you as a board are considering with regards to this policy, then may I submit that the importance of incentivizing people to live in the school district is crucial. Not only will you find the number of families in the district increase with the closed district policy, but you will also see more families like ours increasing property assessment values inside the district by the work we do on our homes, hence further increasing revenue from inside your own borders. My experience on a school board proposing both failed referendums and successful ones is that you need families inside your district and not only those fixed incomes. We need you. Okay, so thank you so much for your consideration. Recognizing increasing numbers of families as opposed to those on fixed incomes that simply cannot responsibly vote on referendums in times of inflation is important. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and welcome to the community. We're glad you're here. I have a couple ideas if you want a cool neighbor. Kevin, so you're next. Excuse me, I'm choking today. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, school board members. This is Kevin So. I'm a resident of the West Lafayette School District, and I'm also one of the 55 participants in the survey that Dr. Yin conducted earlier. So thank you for your work. And I would also like to thank all the school board members for your dedicated service, which is greatly appreciated by our community. And I would like to start by reiterating that we love having the current transfer students, and my children actually not only study with them, but also call many of them very close friends. And they form strong bonds with each other regardless of where they live. As a school district, we must do everything possible to keep them here and support them in continuing their education journey until the completion of their high school years, if possible. The focus of the issue for deliberation by the school board and public input by residents in the school district is for future students, as I believe. Residents within our school district are willing to pay higher taxes with the very expectation that their contributions help support local schools and students, including their own children. The core issue is fairness for taxpayers within the school district who pay higher taxes to support a stronger school system and ensures access to high quality education for residents. I would like to use the same logic applied at the state level. In Indiana, for example, out-of-state students attending public schools like Purdue University or Indiana University are required to pay higher tuition rate, approximately 3 times what in-state residents pay in order to get higher quality education. This is because state universities, despite receiving some federal funding, are partially supported by state appropriations, which are funded through tax revenues generated within Indiana. So Indiana taxpayers would not support using their tax dollars to subsidize education for out-of-state students, even though those students' families pay federal taxes. The same principle perhaps also applies here. When public universities face economic challenges, financial difficulties, or enrollment declines as we described it here, they do not normally address these issues by simply allowing more out-of-state students to enroll in in-state tuition rates. Proposals of a policy like this would likely be rejected by Indiana residents taxpayers and legislators. Similarly, universities in Indiana or other states do not justify opening enrollment to out-of-state students by citing goals such as diversifying the student population or providing access to more out-of-state students.
You're out of time. I'm
Okay.
so sorry,
yeah.
but I really
So
appreciate
I would like to urge the school board to have a more formal open process to allow public input before making that decision.
Thank you. And if you wouldn't mind emailing what you weren't able to share to us,
Absolutely.
that'd be great. Thank you, sir. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion?
I can submit a motion to approve this consent agenda.
Great. George is seconding. Any discussion? Okay, we'll go ahead and start the vote. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda? You don't have buttons? There you go. Okay. That passes 6-0. Okay. Next item is unfinished business, and having none, there. Having none, we will move on to new business. Item number 7 is the Happy Hollow Chiller. And before we hear from Michelle on her recommendation, Dr. Greiner, would you please provide an update to the community on the input we've solicited regarding Happy Hollow?
I would. Thank you, Mrs. Austin. Working with Mr. Adam Jones and Skybound, we recently gathered initial community input through a survey on the future of Happy Hollow with 239 responses from a broad range of stakeholders. The feedback shows strong support for maintaining and expanding STEM, robotics, student programming, community education, and recreation and wellness amenities. Notably, over 90% of the respondents indicated a willingness to pay for valued programming, demonstrating strong community investment. Based on these trends and the priority of keeping the facility and community asset, the recommendation is to move forward with the chiller replacement to ensure that the building remains safe and functional for the current and future uses. Further discussions through focus groups will continue, and this will help to refine the plans for the site. Mr. Jones will facilitate focus groups similarly to what he did with the strategic planning. And he's going to do one on October 29th, which will be in person. And he's going to do one on October 31st. And that one will be a virtual, so that way we can make sure that individuals or stakeholders have various opportunities to provide their input. I'd like to ask Mrs. Cronk to please share more details about the recommendation.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Greiner. It is necessary to move forward with replacing the chiller at Happy Hollow after hearing all of that for continued use of the building. In the state of Indiana, we are allowed to have a licensed architect or engineer create plans for a public works project over a certain threshold. Due to the nature of this project, we have chosen to work directly with an engineer at Creative Engineering Solutions, which has taken part in work previously across the district and is familiar with our HVAC and mechanical systems. Creative Engineering worked with John Becker of Church & Church on the final architect engineering agreement that is included in your board packets this evening. The cost of the services outlined will be $50,400, which is in line with the industry standard of approximately 10% to 12% of estimated construction cost. Please approve the engineering architect agreement as presented so that design work can be finalized and the process for competitive bidding can commence.
Thank you. I am looking for a motion, please. Moved by David to do what, please?
Motion to accept the proposal?
Great. Is there a second? Thank you, Lawrence. Any discussion this evening?
Quite quick question, maybe for Dr. Greiner. So you just report the kind of summary of the survey. Are we going to already, or maybe we already shared this summary report on our website, or not yet?
The summary report that, oh, are you asking if we're going to share it on the website?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We have not done that yet, but we will. I know he wants to collect, Mr. Jones wants to collect the additional information through the focus groups, and then we'll make sure we keep that public. Thank you, Mr. Wong. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody
Thank you.
else? Great. Seeing no more discussion, I will do the buttons. There we go. All right. All those in favor of approving the chiller? Great. Motion passes, and I'm going to write it down. Thank you very much. The next item is also Michelle, and it is the budget adoption. So would you lead us
Alright.
through that?
Thank you, Mrs. Austin.
Thanks.
It's time this evening to formally approve the 2026 budget that was presented at the September 8th board meeting. All documents were published on the Gateway website and the School Corporation website at the required times, outlining that the formal adoption would take place this evening. First, we must please adopt the school budgets for the education, operations, referendum, rainy day, and debt service funds. This will be accomplished by approving Budget Form 4 along with your signatures. I ask that you please approve the budgets for education, operations, referendum, rainy day, and debt service funds.
And just to clarify, do we do these as a unit?
We are doing them one by one.
One by one. Okay. So first, I would like a motion on the adoption of the school budget. George, move to adopt. And is there a second? Lawrence? Thank you. Any discussion on the school budget? Great. Let me do the buttons. There we go. All those in favor of adopting the school budget? That is 6. All righty. And the next item that I'm looking for motion on is adopting the 2026 referendum.
I'll
Oh,
introduce
you're going to
each.
introduce it?
Yep, I'll introduce
Sorry,
each.
well,
Yep,
please.
I'll give a
yeah.
little bit of blurb before each one.
I get
All right.
so excited.
You're fine. I know this is exciting stuff, isn't it? Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Second, please approve the 2026 referendum fund revenue spending plan. The plan was created in the same manner as it has been for the past 2 years.
Okay. I need a motion on the Lawrence, so move to approve. Thank you. And is there a second? David, thank you. Any discussion on that item?
Yeah, I just have a quick clarification question. So basically, we kind of 2/3 will be moved to the education fund, and then maybe 1/3 will be to operation fund of these referendum revenues. So for all these referendum revenues we get, we will be maybe 2/3 go to the
Yeah, we do.
education
We have
fund.
about a 60-40 split. We've kept that same split this
60-40,
year, and we
right?
spend directly from the referendum fund. We don't do transfers like they used to do transfers back before I got here, which was acceptable at that time and is not anymore. You are supposed to expend directly from the referendum fund. And like I said, we have about a 60-40 split. It's a little bit different than that, but it's about 60-40.
Yeah, no, that I just asked question and clarified on the meetings,
Yeah.
so that's okay. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Great. Let's do buttons. All those in favor of approving the referendum fund revenue spending plan? Great. All right, that passes 6-0.
Thank
The
you.
next is capital expenditure.
Yeah, so next, I ask that you please adopt the capital expenditures plan. Remember that this is purely a plan, and what is actually completed depends upon cash flow and timing. I will say that I'm pretty proud that we completed everything in 2025 that was on the capital expenditures plan last year. So we feel a little bit accomplished, right? Yep. Signatures on the resolution to adopt the 2026 capital expenditures plan will be required after approval of this document.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I can have a motion. for that.
Moved by Lawrence, a second by George. Thank you. Any discussion on this? Yue?
So this is a plan. I wonder, so how we decide which one we will implement, which plan? And so given the current financial stress?
So many of those things that are on that plan were included as part of the 2024 GEO bond, which we ran that GEO bond specifically for those things. So a lot of the things like roofing and HVAC that are on that plan will be coming from the GEO bond. Some of the items, if they weren't in the GEO bond, we will have to assess when we get to that point whether or not we have the funding to do it. Like I said, it really depends upon cash flow at the time and timing of things as they come up. If we have emergencies that come up, we may have to put off other things that are on that plan. So it's a working document that kind of does change a lot.
So it's a it's a plan. When we plan to implement a particular item, we will make another decision, right? So
Yes, and mostly everything that's on that plan, as you know, I actually bring to you because of the cost thresholds have to be approved by the board. So you will know a lot of those things as we do them.
Okay. May I ask a clarification question for the painting? So looks like we have the painting for classroom, hallway, and stairwell every year on this plan. And so is that like a touch up or it's a whole?
I have, and so that has been something traditionally done every summer in this school district. We have had discussions with administrators that we will do things that we need to get done, not necessarily that we want to get done. So we've put those on there for every summer because we've traditionally done those things. For instance, a lot of times stairwells at the high school, paint's chipping off. So we have to go and we have to fix things like that. But we put things on that plan that cost $10,000 more that we might do.
Some of those are, you call them preventative maintenance, and it's how you keep like your home, right? And so what Mrs. Cronk describes, obviously you don't want to be in that mode too long, or at some point you become reactive. But recognizing that we're going to have to prioritize things, it's certainly something, Dr. Yen, which I think is what you're suggesting, we will look very closely at everything we're doing. And so those preventative maintenance items, if we can put them on, it's kind of like even with buses, if we need to hold off on buying a bus and maintaining a bus to that 12-year period, like Mr. Caldwell was speaking to, it's not something you want to do for very long, but it's certainly that prioritization is a tactic we can take to really make sure that the funding is very wisely
And we
guided.
are in a good place because this district has done a good job of traditionally doing preventative maintenance and replacing the buses. And so we feel like we are in a good place that as those things come up, we will address them as they come up.
Okay, great, thanks.
I think we need to get some volunteers over here to paint this building red.
Are you volunteering?
Sure. I'm really good at cutting in.
I'll
I'll
help
remember
you.
that.
All right, if there's no more discussion, I'll go ahead and start the buttons. All those in favor of approving the capital expenditures plan? Thank you. That vote 6-0. And Michelle, how about the school bus replacement?
Yep. Next, I ask that you please adopt the bus replacement plan. Signatures on the resolution to adopt the year 2026 bus replacement plan will be required after approval of this plan. You will notice that it does look very similar to last year's because that bus has still not shown up. So we must keep it on the plan for 2026.
Sorry, I took a drink at the wrong moment. Is there a motion, please? Moved by Lawrence. Seconded by George. All right, and any discussion on buses? Okay, super. I will start the vote. All those in favor of adopting the plan for 2026? That's super. And one more, I think, the resolution of budget reductions.
Yep. So lastly, in order to fund the proposed budget for the operations fund and the rainy day funds in particular, it will be necessary to cut unused appropriations for this current year. So I ask that you please approve the resolution of 25 budget reduction that will allow us to inform the DLGF that our current year appropriations will be decreased so that then the formula that the DLGF uses arrives at a positive number, so they will fund our 26 budget.
Okay, I need a motion, please. David? Thank you. And Lawrence, how about you second? Thank you. All right, any discussion?
I just want to appreciate
My long-winded explanation in Friday notes.
I think that's a very good explanations
Thank
to why we need these things. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, hearing no more, I will start the vote. All those in favor of approving adopting the resolution of the budget. I can't say those words. And that's 6. Great. All right. Thank you, Michelle, for
Thank you.
understanding all of this and presenting it so clearly. We are very lucky to have you in charge of the finances as we move into the next few years. And I have every confidence in your ability to see us through it. So thank you. All right. The next item we have up is the policies. And I think with Rachel's absence this evening, There will be a couple that we'll need to table, but that's all right. We're going to do the best we can and see how it goes. So the first one on the list is B150, Organizational Meeting, Board of Finance and Committees. Would you like to? That'd be wonderful. Thank you.
So basically, David's here, but Rachel is not here. But anyway, I will just share some of them. We policy committees, we meet September 29th. We spend with also the administration teams. So about two hours, we work out these about eight policies. We go through them. And we take all the proposals from board members very seriously, and we also have our proposals. So I think we will follow last meeting's procedures. If any modifications, we will have motion go through the amendment from proposal by policy committee, and then any board member can adjust that or provide their own amendment, so that will be the procedures. Okay, so that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
David, you have anything you want to add on?
Yeah, just for clarification again for everybody, black text is all text that was in the original first reading. Green text is text that has been edited as a result of the policy committee meeting that was agreed upon by the three of us and the administration during that meeting. Red text is typically text that's been removed, and it should have a line out or strike through on it. And blue text is other text that was brought up by various board members that we reviewed that is not our recommended text, but we've included it there to make this easier as people make, if they choose to make motions. Because sometimes there are sometimes where some of what was in a recommendation, or maybe most of what was in a recommendation, was incorporated, but not all. And so we want to make that as smooth as possible for people to see the different versions. But when a motion is moved to approve one of the policies, it's intended. It doesn't include the blue text. That would need to be added as an amendment.
Right.
So just so everybody, just to remind everybody
Thank
where we
you.
are, and we're happy to talk about our rationale. The rationale is also included in the Google Doc that Rachel has been leading for us.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, that was, it worked really well last time. I think we're going to fly through these. So first, we'll need a motion on B150, which is that organizational. Okay, to approve. And David
second it.
will second. Great. Any
Yeah.
discussion? Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
Lawrence, go ahead.
Yeah, our meeting, during our policy committee meetings, we go through this, and seems everybody seems not really too much amendment. So we policy committee would recommend just adopt it as recommended by CCI, our legal counselor, CCIJ. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Daisha?
So I had several questions about paragraph 4, the one that talks about the organizational meeting. So the first sentence talks about that we'll start approving regular meetings at that time. Are we switching from June approval to January approval with this change of policy?
Which sentence, or which?
The very, yes, so where it says at the
Fourth paragraph.
organizational meeting, that first sentence is my first question. It says the board will determine the calendar, where in the past it's been done in June. So I was just clarifying that this policy is going to change that practice, and that practice will start being then.
That's fine. I'm not married to June. I think it's probably safe to presume that we'll leave it as it is unless there's some compelling reason not to. So if we want to reaffirm that in January, I think that's all right. Anybody else have an opinion? Go ahead.
I think this is the formal approval. I think we as a board, we can keep the practice of starting in June to schedule and make an attempt. But there are some years where the board turns over in January, election years where there will be new people. And so there may need to be some determination of changing dates and times, so I think that it makes sense for January to be the time to officially approve all of the meetings for the next year. But I do think that we can put things on the schedule in advance, and then if we had to, change them.
So that was what was confusing to me, is often at the organizational meeting, right before that is when board members who have newly been elected join the board. And so I was curious why it was being decided that they wanted to make a decision at that moment of approving the calendar, because that hasn't ever been done in the past. I don't have a strong preference. If it's telling us what we need to do, then we now need to do it in January versus in June in the
If someone were to join the board and have dialysis every Monday night or something serious that they couldn't miss, I think we would all be flexible enough to change that, and I think they would let us know prior to the meeting. So, I can't think of a lot of reasons why someone would not be available on Monday nights, but if
No, I
there
just-
were one, I like the flexibility of being able to change when someone joins the board.
Okay.
I think that's fine.
Just was wondering if we're changing, and it sounds
Okay.
like, if I understand, we are. Then my next question is on sentence 3. Why every organizational meeting we're approving to set a fee to charge individuals who want to request notice of board meetings? We've never, I should say never, in however many years I've been following the board, there's not been a fee charged, especially with electronical notifications. Why is this being something that we now have to approve at every organizational meeting?
This has actually been something that's always been there.
Louise, I'm sorry.
Everything okay?
It's all right. You okay?
I'm doing great.
Ready?
Yep,
Okay.
sorry.
We actually had a pretty extensive discussion about this.
Okay.
What we had decided is that there are, in general, we're likely not going to be setting a fee.
Okay.
Having it in the policy allows us to make changes if there are new things that come up that may cause substantial amounts of administrative time that goes into doing certain things. Like it's no longer the charging the fee for like photocopies, since we can do everything digitally, but we do need to have the flexibility in here if there are situations that come up where we couldn't, if somebody requested something, we couldn't just go and change the rule and make a fee. But if there were repeated instances of something that was taking a lot of time away from the administrative staff, this then gives us the opportunity to, as a board, make a decision on, do we want to change this into the future of charging a fee for certain things if they take more than a certain amount of administrative time, rather than having to go back and change the policy. It's a quicker and easier, more flexible process for us to change what the fee would actually be.
So this, though, is saying it's only about notice of board meetings. It's actually not talking about a general fee. So I just was curious why this isn't a practice that we do, why the policy committee felt it was important to have this as part of it.
We had talked about what this would cover, and there can be a broad definition of what that request for meeting notification can be. It was determined that it's better to leave it in, and at the time being not set a fee, and rather than removing it and not having that option.
I think it allows, under state law, the boards to be able to charge if somebody personally wants a package mailed to them. That's probably the main thing they were considering. So if somebody in Colorado wants a printed copy of the agenda of the board packet, then we could charge them the printing fee and the mail fee, and that way it doesn't incur any cost to us.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think we talk about this issue in the policy committee, something like not this particular specific fees, but generally speaking, I think our administration also think, sometimes when people ask us information, they need the people working on that. And also, if you need a paper copy, probably, this notice is okay, but sometimes they ask several copies, that's the cost comes with that. So I think we prefer just leave those fees provisions in the policy. So that's our conversation in the policy committee. So
And then my last question for this policy is where it says the board shall appoint individual board members to committees. Yet when you go down to the committee section, it says committees appointed by the board or the president. So I was trying to understand, since I've been on the board's never been allowed to have any say in the committees besides just sharing an opinion. The president has dictated it. So I was curious why we're saying in the organizational meeting that the board will appoint individual board members.
I think, well, first of all, I have asked for people's feedback on what board assignments they wanted. I remember specifically doing that in December and not getting a whole lot of replies a couple years ago, but I think the idea of that is that the board is appointing Dr. Yin to represent the board at the GLASS meetings, and the board has appointed me to represent the board at the redevelopment commission meetings. And so it's goes back to that idea of the action of the board is only valid if it's the whole board doing things versus one person. So the board as a body says, this is the person who's going to represent us at these various meetings based on the recommendation of the president, who understands that asking 7 people to agree on something like that is very difficult. And so someone needs to do it.
Yeah.
Do you dislike your appointment, or is it, did you?
So every year I've actually responded and shared, and never once have I been allowed to serve on any committee I've asked to serve on. But the point of this conversation, though, is why we're saying the board is appointing them when in our practice, it's the president that has been appointed. So my question is, are we changing?
No.
Last month, the policy I tried to get changed was that the board would vote on it like they do in some school districts, and that was voted down. So I didn't know if this is now approving that, or I wasn't clear what the policy committee was wanting with this wording on this part.
Yeah, that's, I need to double check, but I think you talk about these committee things, right? The first sentence.
So that one says it's both of them. But if you go up to the organizational meeting, it actually says, which in practice has never happened in the organizational meeting because new board members have joined, and so it's always been done in February. But right there, that 4th paragraph that says that, thank you, Brandon. That second to last sentence, the board shall appoint individual board members to committees, does not seem consistent with other policies and our practice.
Okay, yeah, but I don't know, I'm not sure about this one. The board shall appoint individual board member to committees. Yeah, this one I'm not sure, but the bottom one, that's, I think, that's the copy from the open door law. So they say if a committee is appointed by the board president or the whole board, that kind of governing body have to be open door law, whatever meetings. And as compare, if the committee is appointed by superintendent, that can be closed door. So that's, I think that's my understanding of that part. But for this part, maybe we can, you want to bring them back to the policy committee for further studies? I mean, we can.
Yes, I can make a motion to postpone.
That would be a motion to
policy.
table, right?
Table that.
So table, my understanding, but you can correct me, if table from reading here means it's happening later in the meeting. The motion to postpone is supposed to be for a future meeting is what I had studied, but, so I would make a motion to postpone policy B150 until a future meeting to give the policy committee a chance to talk about how we're going to handle
further studies,
appointing 2 committees.
Yes. Yeah, I will second that
Okay.
motion.
And I think that one passes without a vote.
No.
No, it does require a majority. Okay, there it goes. This is to postpone. Okay, there's one more. Okay, let me write that down. That passes 6-0. Okay, the next policy to consider is B175. Does one of you want to introduce that one?
Yeah, I can.
Great,
can,
thank you.
Submit a motion to approve this.
Oh, yeah.
B170, B175 as proposed by CCHA.
Okay, so you're moving to, is there a second? Thanks. And is there any discussion? No? Okay, super. Let me restart the buttons. Okay. This is to approve B175. And I can see on here that that's 6 out of 10. Can you flip it over? There you go. That's okay. All right. 6 out of 6. It says 6 out of 10 on my screen, but of course you're right. There are not 10 of us, thank goodness. All right. The next item is B200. I need a motion on that one.
Yeah, this one have several membership. Yeah, this one have several modifications. So
Let me pull that one up. I've gotten behind because of buttons. Okay. Oh, this is that one. All right. The first modification, Daisha, would you like to go ahead and explain that one on page 3 at the bottom? It's the blue text. Am I on the right one? Yeah.
yeah, that's I think maybe we can I can have a motion regarding the proposal by a policy committee, which is I think the section 9, public expression and communications of board members, and there's some green text. Yeah, here. Yeah, so that's the background is we well, the policy committee during the meeting we discuss and take serious consideration of this the proposal, the amendment, the recommend from board member, which is in blue, and we have kind of modified the proposal, which is show up as a green one. So I would like to have a motion to adopt this green text for that provisions. Thank you.
All right. Hang on. Let me write that down. Is there a second? David, thank you. Any discussion on that? Daisha?
So my concern with this recommendation is that being the spokesman for the board is not just about being receptive to feedback, it's actually speaking on behalf of the board. And so when we received training from ISBA, Steve Horton, this question actually came up. And there's been email questions sent to him about how to handle this as a board. I also, so anyways, his comment was the board president is typically the spokesman, which is what we're doing here, but it says communication should be sanctioned by the entire board. And as he said, as stated in our meeting, no communication from a board member, whether personal or otherwise without the express consent of the board is appropriate. And so the reasoning behind this is a history of the board president deciding to do things on behalf of the board, which board members did not know about, nor agree with, nor approve that it was a personal agenda. And so that's why I have made this recommendation to make it clear so that when the board president is speaking on behalf of the board, they're actually representing the board and not themselves. So I make a motion to approve the text in blue instead of the text in green.
Okay, just 1 minute, please. Is there a second?
Yeah, I can second.
Okay. Is there discussion on the blue text?
Yeah, regarding the blue text, we, a policy committee, we talk about that. One things, or one issues we talk about is the after the president have to make public communication after board review and approve by a majority of the board. So we have some discussions. Basically, sometimes in the practice, something happened. Probably we don't have any chance to meet and make decisions. So we need somebody as kind of spokesperson about the whole board. So we think that's probably a little bit in practice doesn't it's not doable. It's not practical in the real world. Another change is as the official spokesperson only speak visual. Yeah, I think that's the major. Another obligation. Yeah, I think that's the major things. So that's why we changed that basically the official spokesperson on behalf of the board. So basically, whenever the president saying basically you are represent the whole board, so you're not represent yourself or individual board member. So we have these things like all members, all other board members should remain representative to feedback from individual board members as provided for in policy D225 employee ethics. So I think this green word is very good. It's better. It's good compromise between all things when we take into all things into consideration. So that's our policy committee's recommendation. And David, if you have anything, you can just add on.
No, and we, like Lauren said, we'd had pretty extensive discussion about that, and then also ran it by the lawyers, and they felt my read of their response is that the president often needs to act and speak in situations where there isn't necessarily time, or we can't vote through email or non-formal means. And so most of the time, or a lot of the time where the president needs to be able to speak, we can't constrain them by by a more restrictive policy.
Yeah, I don't want the board president to have to wait on the rest of us if a building gets attacked for us to vote to let them speak.
I can understand. So in that specific emergency situation, maybe the board need to say something. But in other times and historically, I have to say I was surprised several times when the board president, for example, sent an email to the whole district on a letterhead with my name on it. I was very surprised because I didn't agree with what was on the letter. I felt, oh, why? That's not the emergency. And I feel that's not appropriate. Another situation when the board president decided to put up a Q&A information on the whole district website. And I was also very confused because I feel that actually the Q&As hurt our district. And sharing some information, I don't think it's appropriate to share. I never seen any website, school website having that kind of information. I feel it's totally inappropriate and that make our school looks bad. But I was never consulted whether that information should be shared even on the website. And so in that situation, I feel the board president did have time and opportunity to discuss with the rest of the board members about what that president wanted to do. But other board members never got the opportunity to do so. In another situation, the board president decided, oh, I'm going to run a certain meeting at a certain time for the board members to participate in. And again, it's like out of blue. I was surprised again. So, and I just felt situations like that, and it's appropriate, and the board act as a whole, including everybody. None of us will speak on behalf of the whole board and outside, right? So similarly for the board president, when the board president want to announce something, and that information should get approval from the rest of the board members. And yeah, another thing, and regarding the green piece, and I will suggest, I feel that I think the blue one should be added and to the current one, not to replace the current one, because the receptive to the feedback actually has a different meaning from the blue part, right? So, but I feel that green sentence a little bit strange, and it kind of single out the president. And I'd rather say all the board members, including the board president, should remain receptive to feedback, rather than the president, like all the others, should. I feel the president is singled out. I don't feel that. Yeah, it can be changed into like everybody should, including the president. So that's 2 points. One is the green one should be rewarded, and the second is I think the blue one is still is helpful, and it can help us avoid the previous incidents when the board members felt not included in the decision that the president made on behalf of the whole board. Seriously, I don't know how other people felt, but at that time, when I received an email as a parent, I was so shocked. What? I don't agree with what's in the letter. That's a long time ago, not you, Amy. So I just feel having this. I made a motion to revise the green one and add the blue one. Oh, if we need more time, I can also. Including. Yeah.
Okay, is there a second? Okay. Is there any discussion? The motion. She wants to revise the green text to include all board members and also.
And there might be, that might be a little bit overlaps. I noticed at the end of both paragraphs, there are some overlaps. Maybe we have to remove the overlaps. Oh, by the way, thank you, Brandon, for sharing this on the screen. It's super helpful.
Okay, we're not going to edit it here. So I would say that if this motion passes, then we'll automatically kick it back to the policy committee. Is that accurate? Okay, so we are currently voting on Yui's motion to revise the green text to include all board members and to add blue text.
I want to share something. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize we were still discussing.
Okay.
I can stop this and we can do it again. That's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think Dr. Yin had the question we policy committee talk about that regarding the president. We do have some people raise this question. So it seems like this wording, like we single out the president out. So that's why we have this like all members. So we add on that. And regarding the president, the speaking things, and I think Rachel is in there. And I think we have some reflections about history, what happened. And basically, I mean, from whoever served in that role, sometimes you have to say something. Yes, sometimes, so that's a kind of, if we don't have any clear policies, that will be end up very awkward for whoever served in that role. So that's why we add on this on behalf of the board, because nobody, each of us, nobody want to be misrepresented. And also whoever served in that role, they don't want to speak something misrepresent other people's. So we have this kind of on behalf of the board. So basically, if you are present, you say something, that means you are not individual member, you are not individual community members, you are kind of represent the whole board. So you have something, you always have weight, so be careful with that. And also we have this like all the members, so make sure we are not single out present. So I think again, I still think this green one is better. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now let's vote to approve UA's motion to revise the green text to include all board members and text. Okay, that motion fails. Let me write that down, and then we'll move back to the previous motion, which was Dacia's motion, thank you, to approve the text in blue and strike the text in green, is that correct? Replace the green, replace the whole paragraph with the green in it, with the blue paragraph. Got it.
And I can remove that motion. I was intending to add it on and that we would have, right? And so I was part of that.
Thank you.
It is the same.
Let's move on to then approving the B200 as presented by the policy committee with the green text. Start that one. Unless there's more discussion. She rescinded her motion. So we're back to the whole. Just the green. Yep. Yep. Okay, so this is the vote to approve B200 as presented by us. No, with the green text, that's yes. Yeah, it's okay. The whole thing with the green text. Go ahead, David.
Let me check. Maybe
Not, there are a couple other things in here that do have green text, but because there aren't alternative proposals included in here and no other motions have been made, then we're back to the version that the policy committee moved forward that is inclusive of the green text. So there aren't other individual, there's only that one contrasting approach to a section. So there aren't other things that we need to discuss unless somebody wants to bring up discussing other green text, but
There's
there-
another one later that has a whole bunch, and you might be thinking of C200, which has like 3 or 4 different blue areas. Is that possible?
in prior months, we've had some instances like that one where what we've done is we've gone through each section one at a time when there has been green text and blue text. In this instance, that one thing that we just discussed was the only instance where there was contrasting perspectives on the language. And so now, since we've gone through that one instance of contrasting language, we just have the clean proposal that's inclusive of our modifications from the policy meeting that we're voting on. We don't need to vote on each individual change unless there are discussions between those two or between different options for language.
Also,
now the motion is approve this recommendation from policy committee.
Yeah,
which is
this is
the
your-
appropriation, not the whole policy.
so, but the green text in B200 that isn't under contest can't be changed because those are changes in state law. So we have to have those.
I know that part, I know that. But what I'm saying is our motion is on this, for this part, this amendment.
The original motion was to approve this as proposed by the policy committee. That was the original motion. It's not on individual sections, but we then went to that one section where there was contrasting language. Dacia brought up her motion. We went through that process with the additional amendment by UA. And now that the one amendment didn't pass and the other was rescinded, we're back to that original motion of approve it as the policy committee moved forward with those green changes.
We could do the whole policy as presented as one big vote, and then we don't have to do each one. Is that okay?
That's okay, but that's what I'm saying, that maybe complicated. So in this case.
Because there's no, oh, because of the red, is that?
Yeah, that's because this one, I don't know who made this green one in the 18th. And I will check Indiana code. It's kind of like, so that part. I think maybe we need to vote in just.
Okay. Okay, so do you want to move that? The initial one? Okay. Hold on, just,
So it's, I don't know, maybe it's 18. And the process is actually,
found through way to,
it's on the second part.
in accordance with Indiana law, this is from the compiled policy status notes. That's where it shows, and it says, the committee discussed changing may to should, but it doesn't say anything about the specific 18 and 21 issue. Could it have changed?
If I'm seeing a check, recent 2025 legislation, there are no changes. I remember sending them to CCHA. I changed the 18th, they say they don't.
Okay, so let's do this. Let me copy paste. What we're gonna do is,
I'll have a motion this week.
okay, so Lawrence moves.
I believe her response though was, I don't know why it changed, but she didn't dispute that it changed the law.
So Lawrence is moving to change in this policy all instances of the number 18 to 21.
No, it's just one on second part.
Just one in the second paragraph. Is that the only time it mentioned it? Okay. There it is.
Just real quick to clarify that, so there's no confusion. So Ms. Billingsley said, we don't know why the age was changed from 21 to 18. The law suggests that the individual needs to be 18 by the date he or she assumes office. So barring a different interpretation by the county election board, a 17-year-old could campaign and be elected so long as he or she is 18 by January when they would take office.
One, I think they got this one from specific Indiana code, pretty much copied here, basically against the age discrimination. If you look at the whole sentence, they say who is at least 21 years of age and is otherwise eligible to assume office as a member of the board may not be disqualified on the basis of age.
Right.
So
someone who's
yeah,
20,
21 is
19,
literally copied the Indiana code. So I don't know why, but we just want to change that.
Okay, so you are moving right now, the motion before us is Lawrence is moving to change the minimum age of a board member to 21, correct?
Can we have, can we ask, before we change it, would Mrs. Roth read what you see regarding the law?
Sorry, is that the county's manual or our manual?
That is the state.
The state
Indiana
manual.
School Board Association, School Board Candidate Information Manual.
Okay. So I think it'd be super cool to have an 18-year-old, but I not sure that this is a likely scenario. Do we have a second on Lawrence's motion to change it to 18? 21, sorry, God. UA, I saw your finger. Is that you seconding?
I more have questions. I feel this whole sentence I emailed on the weekend regarding, on Friday, regarding these sentences. I feel it's very confusing. What does it mean by is otherwise eligible? So
I mean, they haven't felonied or done things that prevent you from being around children, I would presume. David?
The rest of that is general catch-all language that is, that covers other changes in state law to eligibility requirements. Because if we had far more specific things such as does not have a felony or whatever, if that was allowed, or if that was a requirement, anytime anything changed in state law, we would then have to go back and edit this. So that language is general to capture any other potential changes that come along in state law. And also it was the lawyers that changed that to 18.
And then I just withdraw my motion.
You withdraw it? Okay, Lawrence has withdrawn his motion. So now, as far as I can tell, we're back to the original motion, which is to approve the entire policy as presented by the policy committee. Is that correct? Okay, super. Is there any further discussion?
yes, may I?
Go ahead.
So again, I feel first this sentence is confusing, and for example, they say may not be disqualified. Why don't they just say is qualified? And so, yeah, I feel that sentence is problematic. Then back to the later part and regarding the feedback, actually, if you read that whole paragraph again, I feel that green part make the sentence confusing. Because the first sentence originally is connected with the third sentence right now. It basically says only the board president is the official spoken person, and
We've
other
already
people
moved on from that one.
But now you are talking about a vote on the whole
But we talked
policy,
about
right?
that.
So for
Yeah.
any part I can
I guess so.
comment on. And so I feel that sentence is talking about feedback, but it doesn't talk about the on behalf of the board part. And the Desha's explanation actually explained the on behalf of part. What does the on behalf of the board mean? So Desha's blue text actually elaborated that on behalf of part.
Okay.
And the green one doesn't elaborate that. And it's break the logic between the first sentence and the third one. So
I think I won't offend George if I say that lawyers speak in a way that's different and often defies logic. And so it may be confusing to non-lawyer people, but they've recommended this specific text for a reason. Is that probably
Which
so?
specific text are we talking
The-
about? this
the
time?
18 part.
The part where it says 18 or 21.
So, in my experience, and again, I'm not speaking as the corporation's lawyer, but in my experience, a sentence like that, so the state legislature sometimes likes to make things clear in case there's any ambiguities, but they like to leave some ambiguities on purpose. Here, they want to make sure that anyone who will be at least 18 at the time they assume office won't be discriminated against from running. The otherwise eligible to assume office covers everything else that's already pre-existing in state law, which I just looked at, and it includes things like actually living in the district, not being convicted of certain kinds of crimes. And there are some other offices that require some other special considerations, like, for example, the county assessor can't be convicted of tax fraud. You know, it's those kind of things.
Okay,
They can just say who
so
is.
do you have a motion? Remember, we're trying to be very specific.
My motion, I stated that basically in the Friday notes, but I can say it
Okay,
again.
but you have to do it again.
Yeah, so I motion to change the sentence into an individual who is at least 18 years old and eligible to assume office are qualified on base, wait, what's the thing? Are qualified to assume office as a board member are qualified. That's just basically there's an age requirement, there's an eligibility requirement, then they are qualified. So we don't, I'm not sure why they use a double negative in this sentence and why they use otherwise. Why?
Could you give me the very specific thing you wanted to say?
Yeah.
David, yeah.
They
Hold
use
on.
the double negative there because the general assumption, the baseline is that people are eligible, but there are certain things that disqualify you from being eligible. And so that's why the language is worded that way. It's not meeting certain benchmarks to be eligible, but there are certain things that can disqualify you from being eligible. And that's why I would assume that it's worded that way.
So Amy, you asked me for the specific sentence. I would say I motion to revise it into an individual who is at least 18 years of age and is eligible to assume office as a member of the board is qualified.
Okay. George, did you have something you wanted? Oh, I thought you put your button on. Okay. Just as a point of information, we got a text back from Jessie from Church, and she says that the law recently changed and it is 18. So that's new information. Okay, so UA has motioned an individual who is at least 18 years of age and is eligible to assume office as a member of the board is qualified to replace the similar sentence that starts with additionally and ends with age up there. Is there a second? Okay, any discussion? Okay, start the vote. Okay.
Does not pass.
Does not pass because it's a tie. So, okay, there we go. Now that we've settled that, we're moving back up to the original motion, which is to approve the entire policy, including the green text with 18, as presented by the policy committee. Is there any further discussion? Sweet. Okay, I'm going to start that over, and this is to approve.
To approve
The whole policy with the green text.
the whole, okay.
Okay, that's great. Let me write that down. Okay. Whew, you guys, this is twirly in my brain. All right, the next one I have is B225, is that correct? Okay. I need a motion on that one.
There's one modification, so we want to vote on that first or just,
Is that the notification policy?
yes.
Okay. Yeah, do you want to do the original motion to approve as
Yeah.
presented by the policy committee?
Yeah, I would like a motion to
Okay.
just approve this, the green part of regarding this notification policy proposal by policy committee.
Okay, seconded by George. And is there discussion? Daisha?
So I just wanted to thank the policy committee for adding the revision in. They just took out the last sentence that I had recommended, which I'm fine with. So I'm happy with the motion that is on the table.
Okay. Any other, David?
I just want to make clear, it wasn't just the last sentence, it was also, and the board's commitment to transparency.
Oh, I did see
Just
that. That
to-
was fine. Thank
okay. I just wanted to make clear on that. We felt that it was a value statement that.
That's fine.
Yeah, okay. But thank you for the language. We felt like this was really helpful for clarifying this process.
So good.
Okay.
And also, okay, that's fine.
Yes, go
I know.
ahead.
Also regarding the bullet point, the third one, any committee member who have submitted a written request to receive, we changed that to a single one, meeting notification. We have that in the meeting committees. We talk about that. We don't want people just ask, send me the whole year's meeting minutes or something like that.
Right.
So we just use this little bit modifications.
Okay.
On that, yeah.
And so just to be clear, we are voting now on only the green text and then we'll do the whole thing.
yes.
Okay, go ahead. So this is a motion to approve the green text as presented by the policy committee.
Yes.
Great. One more.
And then we can vote for the whole policy.
Second, did, but
We didn't, no, you did.
we did.
Yeah.
We got 7 people.
Rachel's
Oh,
second.
6, yeah.
Rachel's second.
Yeah, it's 6. Okay, let me move this.
Doesn't say seven.
The bottom.
That's the number of your device.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay, now we need a motion about the rest of the black text.
Yeah,
David?
I would have motion for that, adopt this B25 as proposal.
Okay, and Lawrence second?
No,
or
Lawrence
Lawrence
beat
proposed,
me to it. so
David second.
he's-
You got it. All right, any discussion on that? Sure, go ahead.
I wonder, so when we talk about the notification and we said here, sent well email or the district communication system into all the this or that. And I noticed that right now we always post the meeting on Facebook. So does this policy imply that in the future we will send an email notification?
It does say or.
But do we count district communication, Facebook as a district communication system? And not everybody use the Facebook. So I feel if we can send the email notification to the whole district, it will be very helpful. Because really not a lot of people are using, I don't know how many people are using, but apparently not all the people are using Facebook.
Okay, I think we need clarification. District's communication system is not social media in my understanding of all things. So Skyward is what I would say is our district's communication system. So I do think that's something to clarify because I don't agree with social media being the way that we reach out.
Where are you seeing social media?
I think district communication system include, I think,
It's a Skyward.
yeah, but I think,
So do we need to be that specific in a general district policy?
That's why I'm asking for clarification. So what does
No.
that mean? And do we send emails in the future or not?
I think having it on the website, which it is, and having it on the agenda from the previous month, which it is, and having it on the door, and also, it happens to go on the or on Facebook, but I don't think that's official communication, but I think that's the,
What would be the barrier for sending the
nobody wants
notification well
more
email?
emails.
And can we have that option on the registration? So we can ask people to either opt in or opt out when they do register. When you say nobody wants to do that, and
We just
some
talked a
people,
little while ago about email,
I
but go
mean,
ahead.
some people do want.
Okay.
I think it would be helpful to let people have the choice.
Okay.
And if we are not sure whether they want to receive it, we can just let them know, okay, here's an option. If you want to receive it, just click it. Or by default, everybody will receive it. If you don't want to receive it, you opt out. So either way, I think we give people the choice.
Okay. David, you had something, and then George.
I don't have a problem with us sending once a month notifications to parents that the meetings are happening and to teachers. I mean, that's part of why I agreed with that language. I think that once a month is basically when we have our meetings. It's one simple email that most of the time can be pre-scheduled to be done because we have the whole year's worth of meetings, and all it has to have is a link, or we can even notify at send a single notification at the beginning of each year indicating when all of the dates are, with the link to where all the information will be. That way parents and teachers have it. I think it's pretty straightforward, and that's why I like the language that we put in there.
You like the green language, which is above this, is that?
Yeah, that's what we have.
Okay. Sent via email or the district's
But the
communication
district
system?
communication system is email. Skyward sends an email.
Okay,
It gives us some flexibility if we.
you don't want to type in 10,000 email addresses.
Yes.
Okay.
We may soon enough transition away from using email systems to maybe some app. I don't know. Like we're moving, I would just
Changes.
leave the language as is, and it gives us the flexibility as our communication systems change.
Okay, George?
David said what I was going to say. Some things don't need to be that specific, and in fact, it would limit us. Like we don't put in policy what brand of refrigerator we buy or what kind of chairs we put in this room. So specifically defining exactly what the communication system is in policy would mean that we'd have to vote to change it if we bought something else.
Okay. So, hold on, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Dr. Yin, I think you have another, maybe, do you want to propose to change the day to the board members? There's one,
Yeah,
Okay, go ahead.
let's stick with one at a time. So I haven't heard a motion yet. Would you like to move that change, or are you okay with this discussion?
Actually, I'm not moving to
Okay.
motion to make a change. I'm just asking for clarification.
Okay.
But it sounds like now we all agree we will send the community, including parents and teachers, the meeting notification every month, right? Is that what we agree?
No, it's not.
No,
Not?
it's,
Then
what
do
to let
we-
them know when it's
So
gonna be.
it's still unclear what we mean by the second point. And so one option is to send an email, the other is a school district communication system. Now we are saying, I heard, okay, it's either Skyward, some people say it's a Facebook or social media.
No,
So
no one
exactly
said
what do we
Facebook.
mean by the second piece? We don't need
What
to
second
specify like what George said. We don't need to make it very specific, but we need at this stage with what we have, what do we mean by this? So now it's a Skyward, in the future, it might be some other system, but it's not Facebook, right?
And what everybody is saying is exactly why we shouldn't change that language. Now, if we want to get together later, or if you want to go to Brandon or Dr. Griner and say, hey, we need to specifically email this to everyone, that's a conversation we can have. But this conversation right now is about the specific wording of this policy, and we shouldn't use policy to bind ourselves to very specific actions that, literally could have been an email.
But if we are asked to interpret this policy, people ask, what's that? Then what do you say? The district's communication system, what's that?
It is whatever.
Right now, it's Skyward, but it could be something else next year.
Okay, so yeah, that's what I said, we agree on that, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, then
Cool.
I have no problem.
Okay.
I mean,
Any other discussion?
yeah. One more
Go ahead,
question,
Lawrence.
Dr. Yin, you have email regarding proposal change the day to the board members on the last page. Can we move the last page on top of last page? Are you still going to have a motion to change that, or you just going to use whatever?
On the last
the-
page?
Just
last
think.
page, right?
Oh, instead of he or she, you wanted they?
Little bit down a little bit.
Little more, little more.
On the top of the last page, on top of the last
Top
page.
of the last page, okay. Little up.
More. Yeah,
There.
Yeah, so this, the day is a proposal by policy committee, but you want to change that to the board members, right? That's my
Yes,
understanding?
yes,
Okay,
yes.
then you can have a motion on that.
yeah, I move to change the into the board member.
What if Roberta says, what if I've cut off both my hands and Roberta has to tell you that I'm gonna listen by electronic means because I'm still bleeding from my stumps? I don't know. Can we be a little more flexible and just say they? I don't feel like that's, David?
Grammatically, they're both correct.
Mhm.
They is the more standard usage. The board member is repetitive, but either way, it doesn't really change what it says. So I'm fine whichever direction we go, but
Okay.
we've spent
Yeah, I
a long
think
time on
that's-
it.
Yeah. Does anyone have a motion to change anything, or are we gonna move on to the final vote?
Yeah, I moved to change
Yeah,
it to the board
Moves
member.
to change
Yeah, I
it
can
to-
second.
Okay, hold on, let me write that down.
So we change that,
I change
date to the
LW. change they to the board member. Okay. Go ahead. Good. We're waiting on 2. There we go. Okay, yes is 4, and that means we're going to change it to the board member. Oops. Okay, now, can we return to the original motion, which is to approve the whole thing, including the green text? Great. That's way up here. Okay, I'm going to start the buttons. Oh, nope, I hit the wrong button. Hang on, sorry. Ah, Jesus. I'm sorry. It's 6-0. Everything's weird on the buttons. There we go. So that's, okay, whole thing with green text. I found it. 6-0. Thank you. Next one. B250. Would either of you like to introduce this one?
Yeah, I think we have
Okay, so you'd like to move to adopt the blue language?
yeah, our, I think we follow the committee talk about that, and we recommend just use this whatever proposal by CCHA, but the blue option is proposed by board members, so whoever proposed that can also
Okay,
amendment this.
okay, so you're not making a motion, but you think we should do that first?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. David?
I'd like to make a motion to approve this as proposed by the policy committee without.
Okay, is there a second? George? Okay, move to approve. Any discussion? Daisha?
The blue text was added through ISBA's, there was an article that they sent to board members about proper email usage. So I took their recommendation and turned it into this policy. The policy committee had said that we're not allowed to do this in the policy, but I did reach out to ISBA to ask if legally we can. And they said this policy is in place for us to determine as a board how we want to communicate, and it is not restricted. We are allowed to do that. So I would like to make a motion to add this to our policy to make clarification of how email should be handled between board members.
Okay, move to add blue text to clarify policy. Does that include newsletters or
It just talked about email communication with board members.
only with board members or with the public?
So this is about board members is what is being added.
Okay. Is there a second? Lawrence? Okay, is there any discussion? Yui?
I think it's a good idea to have this clarification, and also because I think it can potentially save us cost for the open access request. You know, historically, we sometimes spend a lot of money to meet that request. If we restrain ourselves from discussing those controversial whatever issue, that sensitive issues, then it might be much cheaper for us to meet the public, the
Open door law.
Yeah, right. The request for the public access.
Okay. Anyone else? David?
Mike?
Been a long day. The feedback that we received from lawyers said the blue suggestion is a prerogative of the board. I'll note that Indiana Public Records Law recognizes that public entities may use email or other forms of communication for deliberation, so I don't think there's any legal reason to avoid expressing, soliciting opinions, or having discussions via email. I think that adding the blue text restricts us too much in some of the ways that we do need to move certain things through quicker. I think that another piece with this is that I do think that we all need to be well behaved through email and other communication means, and we need to work better as a group and as individuals to be supportive of each other and not to be critical or whatever. I think that that's something that we need to work on, but I don't think that that's specifically a policy.
Anybody else? George?
I would actually like to propose a new version of the blue text.
Okay, that's a motion. Hold on, I gotta type a little bit. All right. Okay. Go ahead.
By using email communication and all other forms of electronic communication, including but not limited to blog posts, Substack posts, and other published media.
Okay, moves that we say by using email and all other forms of electronic communication, including Substack,
Substacks, blog posts, and other
blog
published
posts,
media.
and other published media. Okay, is there a second? Okay, that one's dying for lack of second. All right, and then we are moving back up to Dacia's motion to, where'd it go? I got lost in the sauce. Okay, here we go. Moving to the blue text, right. It was above the fold. Okay, anyone else have anything to say on that, Lawrence?
Yeah, I would like to share some regarding this proposal. I think it's a good idea. We just use email for the procedure things or information sharing things. We school board, we work for the public, so we still want the whole decision-making, information gathering, deliberations through this public meeting. So I think this is good provisions for. It's also it's a pretty good reminder for us. So we just follow this procedure, and also this policy is good education document for the new members. So I think this will be a good provision on this policy. But I think probably I want to add one thing regarding, say, limited to procedure, all information matters.
Okay.
Hold on. Limited to procedure, emergency, all information matters. Maybe add the emergency. After this procedure and all, before the all, comma, and then emergency. Just include, just add
Procedural or emergency.
all information matters.
or information.
Yeah, that's my kind of motion.
Okay, so Lawrence has moved to change it to say procedural or emergency or informational ... Is there a second? Sure. Okay, any discussion on that? Okay, here's the, sorry, go ahead. David, go ahead. It's okay.
I just want to make clear, I don't think that it's ever a good idea for us to restrict the speech and communication that goes beyond what the law says we have to do. I think that there are important times where getting some feedback and discussion through formal email channels that are subject to open door laws can really be beneficial for us. And in some instances, it may be the only way that we can be at the board meeting ready to have that more formal discussion and vote. I absolutely agree that we shouldn't be voting formally by email. That's prohibited. But I do think that we are legally allowed to have some discussion and conversation, and it's really hard to make a determination of where that line is, regardless of how you reword this paragraph. So I think that this does too much to restrict our speech, whether it's our speech interacting with each other or interacting with the public. I don't think that we as a board should be putting restrictions on that that go beyond what the law requires.
Okay, sounds good. Yue, did you have something?
Just a kind of trying to figure out the implication if we add this. So suppose Sean share a Friday notes and we have something we either ask a question or make a suggestion. Can we still do that? And also for the board packet that we are going to discuss on Monday, let's say, can we still send something in the previous week while email to comment on, ask questions, make suggestions?
I don't know.
I just trying to figure out the implication on ours.
Okay.
If we
So
add
I
it.
think ISBA, that article they sent out, which I'm happy to share, they discuss this and talk about the procedural question, informational matters, all of those types of things are questions that you can ask. What this is trying to address is stopping private conversations that then lend itself to tons of issues. The way to handle what David is talking about, needing to be prepared for a meeting, is to have work sessions that are not the hour before. Typically, school districts will have work sessions like on Wednesday night or Thursday night so that questions can be asked, they can learn information, but all this is done in the public instead of privately in an email, and the public only finds out if they make a open door request. And so that's where this recommendation has come from, that yes, you can, that's why it says procedural and informational, is so that you can ask all the questions so that they can be prepared ahead of time.
Anything else? Okay, we are voting now on something.
Emergency, I just. added-
Yes, the motion to amend the blue text to say procedural or emergency or informational, and I'm going to start the buttons. Okay, and that is a tie, so it's, does not pass. Okay, so now we have to go back up above the fold to the original B250,
Blue one.
blue text. Okay, where are we at here? Yeah. Add the blue text to clarify the policy, right? That's where we're at? Okay. Now, do we need to vote or do we need to discuss that? I know. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and vote on whether or not we're going to add the blue text to clarify the policy. Okay, so that is not passing. 2, 1, 3. Okay. Stop. Okay. There we go. Now, was there ever a motion to approve it?
Yes.
Yes,
That was the original.
that was David and George. So now we're back to the motion to approve as presented by the policy committee. Is there any discussion on that? No. Okay, let's go ahead and vote. That is 4-2, so that passes. Cool. Next, C100, entrance age and requirements. This is one of those unicorns where there were no changes. So I need a motion regarding C100.
I would like a motion to adopt it
Adopt it as,
proposed by city statute.
okay, as proposed. Is there a second? Seconded by George. Any discussion? David?
This is more just to raise a point about this, that Indiana is one of the states that does not legally require kindergarten. And I feel it's important to say that, and it's disappointing to me. We can't change the law. I just felt that it's important to share that.
Thank you. Anything else? Neat. Okay.
May I?
What? Sorry.
Just a clarification.
Mm-hmm.
So this, the age requirement is only for kindergarten. So for any grades above, and if only the students have finished the previous previous grades, even if they are relatively younger than other kids, they can still join our school without a limitation, right? Because I heard some other places, even other country, have different age limits. And so we may got kids who are younger but who have finished the previous grades, or they skip grades elsewhere, then they join ours. And so there's no age limit for those higher grades, right? So just only for the kindergarteners here.
If the child seeking to enroll in first grade has not attended kindergarten, it's up to Dr. Greiner, and they assess them. So it sounds like it's handled on a case-by-case basis, depending on the child. Okay?
Yeah, the way this policy is written right now, it is entirely possible if somebody brings a precocious 4-year-old, if they meet the assessment, they could go directly to first grade.
Okay, anybody else? Great. Let me find the buttons. Okay, so this is to adopt as proposed by CCHA. All right, and that is 6-0. Next is the C-150 Homeless Students Enrollment Rights and Services. Who would like to introduce this one?
Yes, I would like to
Lawrence?
motion, just adopt this policy proposed by CCHA.
Okay, anybody, a second, David? Any discussion? Mm-hmm.
Who is our district's liaison?
For homeless students, Mr. Tylinda.
Thank you.
Anything else, Yue?
Do we have currently have that service for homeless children? So it sounds like in Doc's presentation we do, right? How many do we have the numbers? Oh, okay. So
Oh, yeah, I thought he said 2 or 3.
Yeah, I think it was, I was thinking he said 3. Yeah, but I don't have any quoted on it, but it was 2 or 3, I believe.
okay, how is it operated? Because the policy at one place says we are responsible to provide transportation if they live in other district. And so another place says we will collaborate with the other district and share the cost. So
we have to ensure the student is transported, and that could be collaboration with another district, or that could be us doing the transportation.
So currently we take the whole
It varies on a
responsibility.
case-by-case basis.
Okay. Another question I
We can
have.
also, just so you're aware, we can also provide vouchers for families if we deem that that's the most appropriate avenue and it works for the family. We can provide a voucher for transportation for the student and the family to come to and from school.
Means they can take let's say Uber or
Yeah,
some.
we could do an Uber, we could do a city bus pass. It's whatever works best in the particular scenario.
Okay, great. Another question I have is, so this one, when I read it, it sounds like homeless students can transfer to our district if they prefer. And so I wonder how is, whether we also discuss about the open district or closed district policy. And I wonder whether these policies kind of separate from that means even if we decide we have a closed district, we will still be open to
Yes,
homeless
we are still-
students.
Yes, that is the correct
Okay, so
interpretation.
they can always transfer to our
Correct.
district if they prefer to do so.
Yes, if they are within our district boundaries and are deemed to be homeless through the legal definition under the McKinney-Vento Act, we still admit them as our in-district students.
Yeah, no matter where they live,
Correct.
if they prefer to study in our district, they can.
Correct.
And we will provide transportation to them. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, let's go ahead and, oh, sorry, I didn't stop that one. Let's go ahead and start the vote to adopt C-150 as proposed by Church, Hittle, and Antrim. That one passes 6-0. The next one is C-200. This is a doozy. David?
I'd like to make a motion to postpone it to next meeting.
Okay.
There was some language comments from the lawyers that came after the agenda was put out that that Lawrence and I talked earlier. We'd like to send it back to our group just to make a couple tweaks.
Okay, is there a second? Lawrence? Any discussion on postponing? Okay, let's go ahead and vote.
Yeah, I think,
Start, sorry. There we go. Okay. Yes, we've postponed that whole thing. Yes, sir.
so regarding the policy, so maybe Dr. Grandner, maybe we can work with the CCHA, we get the latest updated version of policies, so we can work on top of that, so.
And you mean for the next policy meeting, have that?
Yeah, something
Yes.
like the next batch of policy we want to get. We don't want, we have several amendments proposal by our board members, and then the newer version from CCHA already covered that. So it's kind of
Confusing. Yes, we will absolutely make that request, and
Okay.
I'll have Roberta do that first thing tomorrow so that we've got that ready for when the policy committee meets.
Yeah, sure, thank you, appreciate it.
And that concludes the policy section for this evening. Kind of. I'm going to first reading the rest, but, and I'm going to add C200 to the first reading list because I can type on this. So the following policies are presented for a first reading. Please note that C175 was originally listed for a second reading, but it was moved back to first readings due to legislative changes we received from Church, Churchill, and Antrim. I won't bore everyone by reading the full text of each of these, but they can be found on the website under board-meetings-info-board documents. If anyone has any trouble with that, please get in touch. These policies are having their first reading. C175, C200, C225, C250, C275, C300, C350, C400, C425, C450, C500, C525, C550, C575, and C600. And somebody should have bingo by now. Dr. Greiner, would you like to give us your superintendent report?
I would like to do that. Thank you. All right, I've got a couple of a few things, but I'll try and go quickly. The calendar committee has drafted the 27-28 calendar based on input from the stakeholder survey. The committee met in late September, and the teacher representatives then worked to align quarter and semester breaks. Then the finalized draft has been shared back with the original group and will now go to the Teachers Association for district discussion. And then we plan to bring the recommendation to the board for adoption at the November board meeting. I'll share that in Friday notes before you get it too. The bargaining committee met for the second time last week, and a third meeting is scheduled for October 16th. We're working collaboratively with a shared commitment to reaching an agreement within the required timeline. And you'll remember that timeline is that we are able to formally bargain from September 15th to November 15th. I want to give you a quick update on the tennis courts. Tarquette is finishing punch list work on the tennis courts. That includes grading, seating, and cleanup, with a final walkthrough expected within the next 2 weeks. The boys' tennis team was able to practice on it before sectionals, so we were happy to see that. We're coordinating with the City and Parks Department for the pickleball logistics. Also, fence padding to reduce noise is on the way. Mr. Strode is working closely with the tennis coach and Mr. Daly on bleacher placement, and a joint ribbon cutting with the city will be scheduled once all the work is complete. Just a quick reminder that fall break is this coming Thursday and Friday. Then it continues into Monday and Tuesday, October 9th, 10th, 13th, and 14th. Mrs. Kronk, would you please? Yes, ma'am. Yes, go ahead.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
Will you share the update? We've had a lot of community interest in the transfer discussion. Will you share the plans, kind of timeline of when we're getting more information?
Absolutely.
Survey to the community and all that,
Yes.
please?
Yep. So we've been working on a survey, and we're tweaking that, and then we're going to send that back to the board. so the board can have some input too. Timing of the survey, we want to make sure that first Mr. Reuter is able to come and speak to all the numbers and the updates you'll remember with regard to property tax reform and policy analytics, the work they did and presented to the board. We want to get those revised numbers, which will give you a more updated version of what that looks like. And so we want to have that work session and then, or regular board meeting, whichever we have him come, but we'll keep you posted, board, in Friday notes. And then after that has happened, and the board has had an opportunity to provide input on the revised survey. You've seen the draft. We've since been revising. We will absolutely decide when we're going to send that out so that the board has additional information with regard to the whole community.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
First, I'm glad that we're planning to send that survey to the whole community. What's the timeline? Do we think we'll hear from Mr. Reuter and get that information so that we can start seeking more?
I think that'll come within the next couple of weeks. Is that fair? Yeah, because policy analytics is now working, aren't they, on
They
that?
now have the updated file.
Yeah, they've got the updated information. I just wanted to double check because we've been kind of communicating on that together. But policy analytics has that updated file. So as soon as they've got that information completed, then Mrs. Kronk and Mr. Reuter will have that information. They'll review it. They'll put together what it is they want to communicate with the board to make sure the board is fully aware. And then we'll have Mr. Reuter come and the two of them can address the board and then answer questions. And then once that's happened, and we'll of course have that recorded so that people that aren't able to come and want to access that information can access that information too. And then we'll be prepared to send out that survey. You're welcome. Any other questions before I turn it over to Mrs. Kronk? All right, Mrs. Kronk, would you please report on the accounts payable and fund reports?
Yep.
Thank you.
Claims for the period of September 4th through September 30th total $3,796,812, including regular corporation expenses and the Wabash Valley Education Center expenses. Of this amount, $2,628,368 were paid towards wages, salaries, and benefits. I provided you the final fund report for August 2025 in your board packets as well. Total cash on hand in all funds was $29,640,525. The education fund had a cash balance of $7,691,153. Cash flow through the month of August, showing the flow of revenue and expenses during the through August for the Education Referendum Operations Fund, is also included in your board packets.
Thank you very much. The final item on tonight's agenda is the board reports. I'd like to remind the board that this is for reports on your committee assignment and other school-related activities like ISBA training and school events that you've attended. We'd all like to conclude the meeting in a timely manner, so I ask that we please refrain from asking each other unrelated questions, back and forth discussions, etc. My report's a little extra tonight, so I'll go last. Yui, what's going on with Glass?
Glass met in September, and so they said they have 3 positions to fill. For those who are interested, they should go to the Lafayette website to find those positions. Also, they are sorting out their inventories and to be prepared for the dissolving of the glass. But they said that those actually the equipment that they have mostly are at the end of the life cycle, and also and so, people are being prepared for the next step. And sounds like staff members are less worried right now than before, because before people are worried that when glass is dissolved, they may lose their job. But right now, different schools are absorbing kind of will have a plan for many of the staff members there, which is great. And the next meeting will be on November 18th, because I will go to a conference, and Amy kindly.
Actually, I think George is going to do that one. But
Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you, George. Then will be my substitute to attend that meeting. And Sean updated the bargaining meeting, and I'm the representative of the board, and we had 2 meetings so far, and the team is getting close to reach agreement. And but we are not there yet. And our teachers work extremely hard. And for example, in our high school, to offer a wide variety of classes and extracurricular activities, our teachers often teach multiple courses, and where means multiple preps. And because in some larger school districts, and the teachers may just prepare one course, teach multiple sessions. But in our schools, they have to teach many different classes, sometimes in many different grades. So, and at the same time, they have to sponsor extracurricular activities after school, and so they work extremely hard. And we have provided increase for teachers' salary in the past several years, but due to the inflation, and actually we got the diagram showing that after we adjust for inflation, teachers' salary.
We want to be really careful.
Oh.
I just don't want to cross the line of talking about the discussions in bargaining, because legally we have to be cautious.
Okay.
Yeah, but where you were is great, so probably.
Okay. Yeah, so just a general, my general take-home message is I hope always to support our teachers better, and even when we face these financial difficulties, and we need to figure out ways to increase our revenue and save money elsewhere, so we can still compensate our teachers better. And so another thing is, participating in the ISB. I uploaded my summary of what I learned from that conference. It was very helpful. Actually, I feel this year's is even more helpful than some of the earlier years, and I learned a lot on, for example, how the counselors works and their models, and how other districts handle their financial report, and the superintendent evaluation, and also the keynote speech was also very touching and inspiring. And anyway, the details is in that report. I don't want to waste more time here. Thanks.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and give Rachel's report, if I can find it. Sorry. Alumni class reunions are keeping WLCSC busy. They hosted the class of 1975 on homecoming weekend. Over 80 alumni and guests participated in the reunion, and they're looking forward to hosting the classes of 1965 and 1970 in October. We will all be dedicating the new outdoor classroom at the Elementary School Nature Center on Saturday morning, October 18th. The beautiful new pavilion was built by volunteers with memorial gifts from the family and friends of Colin Kippenbrock. Colin was a parent, paraprofessional, and volunteer in our schools at the time of his passing in 2022. We're especially grateful to Matt Dodds, husband of Willis teacher Katie Dodds, and Dunkel Custom Build, Dan Adams and Siteworks, Von Tobels, and Bill and Katie Price for helping to complete the project. The foundation will also be hosting a luncheon for retirees on Tuesday, October 28th at the Whitaker Inn. This has become an annual event, and it's always full of laughter. We are grateful to Chase Newsom and Merrill Lynch for sponsoring the event. And finally, the deadline for teacher grant proposals for WLCSF is Friday, October 24th. David.
So for Parks and Recreation, it's really nice being done with the nearly $20 million project, because things start to lighten up. We're just starting the planning process for a renovation at Happy Hollow. We're just starting the initial planning process. We're not actually making changes right now. Wellness Center, things are constantly busy there. They just renovated, resanded and redid the floors for the basketball courts. I have not yet been out on the courts, but I'm hoping that I will slip far less, so I won't get hurt as much. And then also, probably the best news is previously, so we had some AmeriCorps volunteers that whose contract or grant was canceled earlier this year. We've recently, the Parks and Rec has recently been awarded a new AmeriCorps grant, so there will soon be hiring of new AmeriCorps volunteers, which is really exciting because they did a tremendous amount contributing to the community.
Thank you. Keisha?
For the Public Schools Foundation, their Cupcake Run fundraiser was a huge success. And the great thing was this year they started a new team opportunity, which provided $100 to our intermediate school and $100 to our elementary school to buy PE and recess equipment. So that was great.
Great. Lawrence?
Yeah, just two things, couple things. One is SBA, I joined their conference, so I have report in the box, so anyone who have interest, you can take a look. Another thing is I really want to appreciate the policy committees with three people work together. I think that's really very good work together, especially Rachel. She kind of diligently document a lot of things, texting things, the detail things. So, and also she have been involved for many years. So a lot of history background information also from her. So I really appreciate her works. And so throughout the policy committee, I think we are willing to listen to each other and also make a compromise. And also we appreciate administration teams. So they come here 7:30, right? 7:30, and also so it's still dark. So they give us a lot of perspectives from day-to-day operations, from teachers' point of view, from school admissions point of view. And also when we have this board meeting, the whole board, I see everybody, a lot of people is extremely patient, and then we just willing to listen, willing to make a compromise. And I think it's a beautiful unified teamwork. So I'm pretty happy be part of that. Thank you.
Thanks. And George?
So Congress is not in session, and the federal government is currently shut down, so there are no updates there. The state legislature is not in session, so there are no updates there. I, too, attended the ISBA conference and served as a delegate on the platform committee, where we put together a platform to ask the state for its continued support for education. To that end, and this is relevant to one of the other discussions we had earlier, one of the reasons why the transfer policy has come up so often now is because of a change the state legislature made. The state legislature has decided that school districts can no longer charge the difference between districts that have a referendum and those that don't. And so that is a funding source that our district and many other districts greatly appreciated that we no longer have access to. So if anyone out there is listening, it's worth contacting your state legislators to see if that change can be reversed.
Thank you. It is always, there's always something to contact them about. So I was going to go into a great deal of detail about this, but basically it's time to complete Dr. Griner's evaluation. Immediately following this meeting, you will have access to the documents you need, and I will email you the instructions. I'd like everyone to have their individual evaluation done by November 1st, if possible. Obviously, if not, we'll work through it, but I'd like to have everything done so that Dr. Griner doesn't have any of this hanging over his head for the holidays. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to let me know. I attended the Redevelopment Commission meeting last month. They approved their 2026 spending plan, and that can be found on the city's website. I also attended board teacher discussion. Much of that discussion was about morale. I think it's fair to say that everyone's ready for fall break, myself included. I'm not going to share the particulars of what anyone else said, but I can tell you this. If you have the opportunity to help lift the spirits of our teachers or our staff, please do. Small gestures like a coffee or a spooky Halloween treat or a note or an email go a long way, not just with the people who work in our schools, but with everybody. Let's all be kind. The future meetings are Monday, November 10th, and there will be a work session prior if needed. There's a list of upcoming dates of interest, and with that, I need a motion to adjourn. Oh, yes.
Last month, when we talked about policies, we set a date
We
for feedback.
did.
So if I can just make a
Yes.
request that if you have feedback on any of the policies that are up for the first reading and the C200 that we postponed, and B-150, if there's anything else on that, please send those to all of us by October 20th, Monday. We've not yet scheduled the next meeting. We need to wait and talk with Rachel. And so I think we'd rather do that later in the month. And so please just send them out. What's easiest for us is the way that you've shared them, putting the specific policy number in the subject, and then the very specific modifications that you would request have made it really easy for us to discuss those changes and go through and find everything that's been recommended. So please do it that way, because that has been really helpful for us. And then Lawrence has gone through and compiled everything. And so, but it's just so much easier if they're sent in individual emails by policy number, and I would send it to the entire board
Okay. By October 20th.
by October 20th.
And if someone has specific questions about one of those 82 policies that I read, would it also be best to have those by October 20th so that you can discuss their questions and be prepared to answer them at the next meeting? Or
If they have specific questions.
specific questions
If they have
about the
questions
policies?
about a policy, yes, please also send that by the 20th.
Right, so
Some of-
that way you can address
So
them.
that way we can address them. I understand that there are times, like when I read through policies the first time and then like later on read them, there may be new things, but
Yeah.
if we can just make sure that we get as much of the feedback as we can by the 20th.
That'd be great.
That is ideal. It makes it so much easier. Lawrence has done a really nice job organizing that, and it's made it so much easier to get through those meetings.
Yeah, and we very much appreciate all of you for all your work. It's a huge undertaking, and I think we're finally getting to the place where we have a good process. And so I'm sure everyone appreciates that. Okay, anything else? I'll take a motion to adjourn. Moved by David, seconded by George. I'll see everybody on, do we need to vote?
Yeah.
I guess we need to vote. Oh, love a duck. All right, there we go. Now we're adjourned.